Right, year 6 we are in our topic of evolution. So I'm going to try and run through the key facts about evolution in this video. We got to look at different types of animals and how they adapted and evolved in class. But the general picture of evolution I'm going to go through now. Evolution is our theory about how life has changed on Earth from its start to its end. It is a theory. We can't do an experiment lasting as long as the Earth has. But it's something we are, as scientists, quite certain about. Our Earth itself, our Earth is about 4.5, not million, billion years old. 4.5 billion years old. And for the first pretty much 1 billion years, there was no life on Earth. Our first life probably came in about 3.5 billion years ago. This time in the past, so we're getting smaller and smaller. And from there, that first life was really simple. We have to go to about 600 million years to find anything that we could call, well, complex. And that difference I'll come on to in a little while. From there, life again exploded. Evolution happened really, really fast. It wasn't long until dinosaurs walked the planet. We know they died quite quickly, about 65 million years ago. And from then on, mammals, they're good, they were a dominant type of living thing on our planet. Humans, they were human-ish kind of things about 3.5 million years ago. What I might call humanoids, so the first ape-like creatures that had left the jungle. But to actually get anything approaching a modern human, those that were called Neanderthals, they were on planet Earth about 250,000 years ago. And in fact, those people who actually had the chance to leave planet Earth, we have left planet Earth, but that's not what I'm trying to say. We are not Neanderthals. All of us are a group called Homo sapiens, a group that pretty much only left Africa, we think, maybe 35,000 years ago. Homo sapiens, modern man. Humans have not been on the planet very long. It's had a lot of change in that lifetime. And we are very lucky to witness it. When we spoke about planets and stars, we wanted to live near a small star because they live longer. Most planets would be destroyed by their sun exploding or getting bigger as a red giant around here. It wouldn't have the chance for life to evolve, so we're very lucky. What we do have is, of course, that first bit of life. And that first bit of life was probably bacteria. It would be nice to think that there was a comet and a bit of the comet broke off in the sky and some bacteria from a distant galaxy crashed into Earth, but they survived and were able to live and develop. But somewhere on our universe, life must have started. We think it's probably to do with what it was like. There was no oxygen. It wasn't a place anything like today when living things can do respiration to make energy. But it was a place full of volcanoes and a place full of thunder and lightning. What we think nowadays is that some of the lightning crashed into new molten rock, going into new bubbling liquid oceans, and it just had the spark to make some random chemicals align in some random way for something to want to live, to make itself work, to try and make itself again. We've done experiments where we can make seemingly not living things become into a bacteria. But how it actually happened is something we can only guess and try and work out. At some point, again, something random must have happened. Because we had 3 million years of bacteria, and that was it. And then at some point, one bacteria, I don't know, decided it would be a good idea to go and join with another bacteria and actually live together as 2 cells, 1 organism. When that happened, could share information, could share resources, share food, become stronger, you name it. When multi-cell life happened, that's when evolution was able to flourish. A big explosion that happened around 600 million years ago. And sometimes we've had cases where evolution has gone down. There have been in total 5 what we call extinction periods. 5 times in Earth's history when suddenly almost all the life has gone. The dinosaurs was one of these, but it wasn't the biggest. In fact, before the dinosaurs just started, about 95% of the different animals and plants living on planet Earth were destroyed. So, extinctions happen. Yes, we have things like the mammoth, the woolly elephant-looking thing with the big horns, that we know have become extinct quite recently. But how do we know this happened? Those big deaths. How do we know there was evolution? How do we know there were these kind of human-looking monkeys in the past? What we do is we look for fossils. We look for fossils because fossils give us the record. We know that rocks, they pretty much happen over time, one layer after the other. In different places, different rocks are on the surface, but we can work out by looking across the entire map of an area which ones are down here and which ones are up here. And then the lower I get, the older the fossil is. Most rocks like this get recycled. As they go deeper into the earth, it gets hotter. But there are places, like I think in Canada and Siberia, where there are rocks that are so old we can see the first evidence of life. It's really special. There are 2 people that I need to mention before finishing this video. One of those is somebody called Charles Darwin. He is from the UK. Charles Darwin is a scientist from what, maybe 200 or 300 years ago, and he had a theory of natural selection. It's the idea that different things adapt for different environments. Evolution happens because living things selectively adapt. Now, for humans, it's quite complicated. It's very hard to say what a good human is. For animals, it can be a lot simpler. Charles Darwin went to the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador. And what he did, he watched these little birds called finches. And there were different types of birds on each island with different shaped beaks. Some were long and pointy to get into tiny holes so they could get the food. Some of them had really strong jaws to have to break down nuts and seeds. But different types on different islands. So those birds that got different shaped beaks, if they were good for finding food, they would get the food. They would live longer. They would make more babies. Those babies would get these beaks and it would be passed on. The things that are good make people or animals successful. Successful animals can make more babies. They pass on the things that are good. The things that are bad, well then the animal can't survive. So it isn't passed on. This is the idea of natural selection. Because we all select. But it happens naturally. It's happened through many, many generations. Many millions of years. The second person is Mr. Carl von Linné. You may have heard of him. And yes, my last person was British, but this person here is a Swedish person. I have not yet been to Linnaeus's garden in Uppsala. I really should. I will do, I promise. Maybe this year. Anyway, what he did, he could see that different types of plants were similar to each other. Like, we, as humans, there were all these other humanoid creatures that we were similar to. Everything had a pattern. We had the first living things, and then different types of living things branched off, and branched off, and branched off. And you could go down this, and Linnaeus made a naming structure. And that naming structure came so every different group. So we could have mammals, and we could have reptiles, and we could have birds, and all the other groups. And then the different types of birds, and going through. And with Linnaeus' structure, we had a way to name everything. We are called Homo sapiens, Homo from the humanoid area, sapiens for modern, but that two-word name comes from this structure. Everything has these Latin names from this structure as well. So if I get to some point at the end and I have Homo sapiens here, I can go back down the tree and I can see which other animals we are more or less related to. Although we are mammals, so we should be in this one somewhere. That's better. That felt like I talked a long time, did I? Did I talk a long time? I'm going to guess 13 minutes. 14 minutes, 15 minutes. Oops. Thank you.